Let's set up our about page here, so that can be kind of crossed off our list here. And as you can see, it's fairly simple, straightforward, and kind of very similar to the front page. We just need to move the menu or the information or header, or whatever you want to call it, from the top right to the top left over here. So these three boxes will be the same with just different text. So let's go back to our Visual Studio Code and go into our home.view, because as you can see, we can use most of this. So we're just going to copy basically most of the home.view. So go to the line 2 where your V container starts, and all the way down here to the V container when it ends. Go to about, and remember to copy, of course, and just override the things in the about page. And if it's running on your browser, just go check out your browser right quickly, so we can test to see if the switch or the change is here. So about page, now you can see this. That's cool, right? So we need to move this one over here and make it fit into 2 columns or 4 columns, I think it is, and have this box go away, and then enlarge this one here, so compared to this one here, right? So that's our aim for now. So let's go back to our about us, scroll up to this page here, and again, we don't want this this entire div block here, because we don't need the white border around it. So, and the div will just use the white background and everything. So let's go to our browser again, just quickly check, and now we can see it over here, but now we need to move it. And how we moved it over here is by using these specific set of rules that we created last time in the home about us here. So we set it to use up 2 columns, we set it to, for a small screen, you need to use all of the columns and so on, all 12 for one, and then offset of 9, right? We don't want that anymore. If we look at our code here, or our page, our design here, we only want to use one of these columns as free spaces as we do down here. And if we go down here, we can see the offset down here is SM1. So let's just change this to SM1 real quick and see if that doesn't move it to the other side, and it does. So that's one of them, right? The next one we want to change is the width of this one, and that's basically just this one we need to fix, because right now it's using 2 columns, but we wanted to use 4 columns, right? So let's go back, and we can see now this is even wider, so that fits with the design we have. We just need to make a little bit more space with this one. And this we can just do with CSS down here, and right now this one is actually empty. And let's go with SAS down here. So in here we can quickly, sorry, I had to pause the video, I had to sneeze, but yeah, let's go back to this, and let's expand this so this is a little bit higher. So if we look at the XD here, it looks kind of like this. Let's go down to our styles and let's attach some style to this. Now, if we look at our home.view, we get this information here. This has actually been sent in because we haven't done any scoped here. So if I scope my CSS here, this will actually also break the design on this one, because I'm allowing this to be used in all this CSS here. I'm allowing this to be used in all of my components. We might have to change this later, but for now, let's leave it open. And that's why I'm already having the design being put into this one. But for now, I just want to grab, oh sorry, let's go up here, it's called info box, right? So let's grab the info box like so, underscore box, and then we have a vflex. We just want to do basically the same as this one, so let's just copy this and just make a few changes to this one. So let's paste this in, and this one. This is our selector for our CSS. We want to attach something to the H1, we want to give it a little bit more width here. So let's try this first, and let's give it a font size. Let's increase the size of this. Let's go 150%, and that should increase, but that also increases the size of these ones, but let's leave them for that. Leave them for this now. Let's add some padding, so let's add, let's say 50 to top bottom. Let's just try 50 pixels all around and see what that does. So now we increase the size for these ones as well. What we want to do is we only want to hit this one up here and not these 3 down here. So if we look at our HTML right now and see what we can do and what sort of pseudo selector we can choose, so we only hit this specific one here and not the rest of these H1s down here. Now we have our layout here with our info box, we have our vflex and our H1, and they go again down here and here and here. So we have something called a first child and last child. Let's just try to test around with these. Let's go with here. Let's see if something happens with the first child if we attach it to h1 and hit refresh. That doesn't do nothing. That's kind of what I expected. So let's hit this flex one here and attach it to this. So dot flex colon and then first child. Click save and see what this does. This attaches to the first flex box that's inside of this info box, and only the first one. So this one, and if there was more, then the other would have the standard size. So if we look up here, there's one flex here and one flex here, right? So this is the first child, and so is this. This is also the first child inside of this. So next step, of course, is to take this, move this, attach it to the info box instead. So that means the first info box, only the first info box here, will have assigned this variable or this specific style that we just changed. We're basically overriding something we already created. But that's how we can set up this, by using only this slight piece of information, this new CSS, and just copy pasting a lot of the other. And that's actually our about us page, and you can change this down here so it's not the same if you want to, up to you. I'm not going to waste time on that. So see you in the next video.